Also tonight, 75 years after Empire Windrush docked in England, the King meets descendants of those on board at a Thanksgiving service in Windsor. Today marks 75 years since the HMT Empire Windrush docked in Essex. On board the ship were hundreds of men and women from the Caribbean who were invited to fill labour shortages in Britain after the Second World War. Their legacy has been celebrated with events right around the UK. Our correspondent, Celestina Olulude, has been talking to some of the Windrush generation and their descendants.
Windrush descendants celebrating a moment of history, pride and gratitude for those who helped build Britain. The Empire Windrush arrived in 1948. 97-year-old Alfred Gardner was a passenger on the ship. Born in Jamaica, he settled in Leeds.
This is me on the right. I don't know where the 75 years are gone. 75? It can't be.
Why is it so important for people to remember the 75th anniversary of Windrush?
Britain wanted people to help to rebuild. Because, I mean, at that time, I mean, there's still a lot of buildings that were burned to earth. In every department of work in England, you can find West Indians have a hand in it. Yeah, I think we've done a good job.
King Charles has acknowledged the contribution of Alfred and other Windrush pioneers with a series of portraits.
Brilliant.
It's a very special generation.
I do find the sun shines a little brighter on St. Mary.
Death in Paradise star Don Warrington is a Windrush descendant.
I feel we owe a debt to those people that came. My parents, lots of people's parents, they came and they struggled with such good heart.
But he is angry that thousands were wrongly classed as illegal immigrants by the Home Office.
It's a shocking thing that you invite people here to help you, and then you forget about them, and then you turn on them.
Home Secretary Suella Braverman says she is committed to righting the wrongs of the Windrush scandal. More than £75 million of compensation has been paid or offered. Events have taken place across the UK, in Cardiff at the Senedd and in Birmingham a musical tribute.
Here in Brixton, people of all ages are celebrating, and this area of South London has played a special part in the Windrush story because it's here many found jobs and a home after leaving the ship.
Today's celebrations, a milestone etched in the national story of Britain, with a legacy that continues to shape the nation. Celestina Olulude, BBC News, Brixton.
Windrush Day, the day the first ship carrying hundreds of migrants from the Caribbean arrived at Tilbury docks. Well, it signalled the start of British citizens from the former British Empire arriving here to make this their new home. Most settled in London in places like Brixton and Notting Hill, and many went on to work in the NHS, which was formed 2 weeks after the Windrush arrived. It also meant the culture, the look, the sounds and the tastes of London were to change forever. Let's hear from some people who were at two commemorative events at Waterloo Station today, one organised by Network Rail, the other a walk to a special service at Southwark Cathedral.
I'm Tracy Granado, I'm the Railway Windrush Ambassador, and today I've organised the Windrush Memorial to commemorate and celebrate Windrush 75. My father came over from Guyana in 1956 by boat to Southampton, then he took the train to Waterloo, and my mum, she came over a few years later. So it's so important for me that my parents are involved in Windrush, and that's why it's important to me and my son.
I am Ansel Wong, and I was a member of the Windrush Commemoration Committee that was commissioned by the government to erect this monument. Today is a very historic and important anniversary. because it acknowledges the contributions that people from the Caribbean has made to the United Kingdom. It's not only the 75 years of the docking of the boat at Tilbury, but it's generally the totality of that experience that we all brought as people from the Caribbean.
Won't you help me sing this song of freedom? It's all I ever had.
My name is Richard Reddy and I'm the Director of Justice and Inclusion for Churches Together in Britain and Ireland, CTBI for short. I'll be thinking about my parents, my mum and dad, who came from Jamaica in the 1950s. They were part of the Windrush generation. They told me so many times about what life was like when they first came to Britain. It was very much a struggle for them. There was a lot of racism at the time. On this walk, I'll be thinking about them, the contributions that they and that generation have made to Britain, made Britain the country it is today.
I have two family members that I'm remembering today who are very much part of Notting Hill, the Notting Hill area. Russell Henderson, who was the founder of Notting Hill Carnival, and my father, who lived in the area as well, an actor from Port Antonio in Jamaica. I'm remembering them both today, very much so, and being able to really savour how much, along with the Windrush generation of which they were a part, how much of a contribution they made to this country in the case of the arts and music.
We do stand on the shoulders of giants.